On the world news, 100 people killed after Israel hit a school in Gaza, and a trainee female doctor gruesomely raped and killed in India. Beautiful afternoon to you, and thanks for joining us on the world news on Providence Television International. Edna Caesar Garrick is my name. Last week, more than 100 people were killed after Israel hit a school in Gaza City, sheltering displaced Palestinians, as the United Nations accused Israel of intensifying attacks on schools. The targeting of Al Talbin School on Saturday during dawn prayers triggered global outrage. Paramedics at the scene described the carnage as horrific. With bodies ripped to pieces, Israel claimed that Hamas and Palestinians' Islamic Jihad fighters were operating from the school, a claim that was rejected by the Hamas. Israel has repeatedly attacked Gaza schools, hospitals and universities, claiming the buildings were used for military purposes without providing any proof. With numerous evacuations orders since the war in Gaza began on October 7th, schools have often been used to shelter nearly 2 million displaced Palestinians in the besieged enclave. Under the Fourth Geneva Convention, schools are considered civilian objects and should be protected from attacks. However, with a 10-day period in August, Israeli forces struck 5 schools in Gaza City, killing more than 179 people and injuring scores more. And away from that, now to Japan, where its Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has announced he will step down next month and will not run for a second term as leader of the long-ruling Liberal Democratic Party, following a series of political scandals that have fueled calls for him to resign. The LDP, which has held power almost continuously since its founding in 1955, has in recent months been embroiled in one of Japan's biggest political scandals in decades. Scandals surrounding several high-ranking officials haven't helped, with some accused of involvement with election law violations or of offensive past comments against minorities. Kishida has tried to contain the damage, replacing several cabinet ministers last year, but that hasn't done much to restore public support. Kishida took office in October 2021, replacing Yoshihide Suga, who occupied the role for a year after Abe stood down with ill health in 2020. During nearly 3 years in office, Kishida has vowed to take anti-corruption measures and institute party reforms, including dissolving factions and taking disciplinary concern actions against any corrupt lawmakers. Concern about Japan's economy, including the weakening of yen against the US dollar, have also undermined confidence in Kishida's economic policy. His decision to quit comes a month before LPP elections are stated, with the date in September yet to be announced. Early on Friday morning, as 31-year-old female trainee doctor retired to sleep in a seminar hall after a grueling day at one of India's oldest hospitals, it was the last time she was seen alive. The next morning, her colleague discovered her half-naked body on the podium, bearing extensive injuries. Police later arrested a hospital volunteer worker in connection with what they say is a case of rape and murder at Kolkata's 138-year-old RG Kar Medical College. Tens of thousands of women in Kolkata and across West Bengal expected to participate in a Reclaim the Night march at midnight on Wednesday, demanding the independence to live in freedom and without fear. India's Independence Day on Thursday, outraged doctors have struck work both in the city and across India, demanding a strict federal law to protect healthcare workers. The tragic incident has again cast a spotlight on the violence against healthcare workers in the country. Women make up nearly 30% of India's doctors and 80% of the nursing staff. Official data reveals a troubling 4% increase in crimes against women in 2022, with over 20% of these incidents involving rape and assault. At RG Kar Hospital, which sees over 3,500 patients daily, the overworked trainee doctors, some working up to 38 hours straight, had no designated restroom, forcing them to seek rest in a third-floor seminar room. If you are just joining us, this is World News on Providence Television. Mpox, the high infectious disease that used to be called monkeypox, had been declared a public health emergency in Africa by the continent's top healthy body. Scientists from the African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say they are ready by the speed at which a new strain of Mpox has been spreading. Since the beginning of the year, more than 13,700 cases and 450 deaths have been recorded in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The virus, which can cause lesions across the whole body, has spread to other African countries including Burundi, Central African Republic, Kenya and Rwanda. The declaration of a public health emergency will help governments to coordinate their response and potentially increase the flow of medical supplies and aid into affected areas. African CDC head John Keseya warned that the disease could spiral out of control if immediate steps were not taken to contain it. Health chiefs outside Africa will also be monitoring the situation to assess the risks of the outbreak spreading further. On 29 July, the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control said the risk from Mpox was very low in Europe. Mpox spread from animals to human and between people through close contact with someone who is affected, including through sex, skin-to-skin contact, and talking or breathing close to another person. It can cause symptoms such as fever, muscle aches, and lesion across the body. If left untreated, Mpox can be deadly. Away from the foreign scene, now back home, the Edo State Governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, has installed the exemplary virtues of the late Emeritus Archbishop of Benin City, Catholic Archdiocese, Most Reverend Patrick Ebosele Ekpo, while praising his contributions to the development of the state education sector. Obaseki, who led a delegation of government officials on a condolence visit to the Archbishop of Benin City, Most Reverend Augustine Akobeze in Benin City, the Edo State capital, described the late Emeritus Archbishop as a lover of education and great ambassador of the Catholic faith. The governor was accompanied on the visit by the Speaker of Edo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Blessing Igbebako, Deputy Speaker, Edo State House of Assembly, Honorable Maria Ideko, and other members of the State Assembly, Secretary to the State Government Joseph Eboigbe, serving commissioners and heads of ministries, departments and agencies, amongst others. The Enugu State Police Command has arrested and charged a suspect, Aliu Saad, with stealing a street light pole in the new African area of Enugu. This was revealed in a statement signed by the Enugu State Police Public Relations Officer, Deputy Superintendent of Police Daniel Duque on X.com. Meanwhile, Saad was apprehended on August 8, 2024 at 4:30 a.m. by operative from the New Haven Division following a tip-off about the criminal activity. He was subsequently charged to court and remanded in the Correctional Custody Center, Enugu, pending further hearing. The Bauchi State Emergency Management Agency has confirmed the death of 4 people as flood continued to affect some communities in the state. The Director General of the agency, Musad Aliyu, confirmed this in an interview with newsmen. He explained that the 4 deaths occurred in flood-ravaged community in Shira, Gaide and Khartoum local governments of Bauchi State. The DG added that in 3 local governments, large farmlands have been submerged by the flood. With that, we've come to the end of the world news. But before we go, a recap. We brought you the story which says Mpox, the high infectious disease that used to be called monkeypox, has been declared a public health emergency in Africa by the continent's top healthy body. Scientists from the African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say they are already by the speed at which a new strain of Mpox has been spreading. Since the beginning of the year, more than 13,700 cases and 450 deaths have been recorded in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The virus, which can cause lesions across the whole body, has spread to other African countries including Burundi, Central African Republic, Kenya and Rwanda. And also early on Friday morning, a 31-year-old female trainee doctor retired to sleep in a seminar hall after a grueling day at one of India's oldest hospital. It was the last time she was seen alive. The next morning, her colleague discovered her half-naked body on the podium bearing extensive injuries. Police later arrested a hospital volunteer worker in connection with what they say is a case of rape and murder at Kolkata's 138-year-old RG Medical College. And finally, last week, more than 100 people were killed after Israel hit a school in Gaza City, sheltering displaced Palestinians, as the United Nations accused Israel of intensifying attacks on school. Thanks for watching. That's our package. Edna Caesar Garrett is my name. Good afternoon.